Good afternoon. This is Robert with Blockchain Education, and we're moving on to Binance Futures Training Part 2. Okay, so what we're looking at right now is we're looking at on Binance in futures, perpetual USDT futures. We're looking at Bitcoin on the screen, and this is a 4-hour chart. So basically what I've done just before the meeting started was I drew a bottom and a top and then a mid area, which is actually probably closer to about here. And what this is I'll just get rid of this for now so there's no confusion. So what this is on the 4-hour, you can see it better that Bitcoin has basically gone sideways since about the 12th of May. So we call this range bound, ranging, moving sideways, but there actually is a $2,000 variance between the bottom and the top. Now, in futures, if you're willing to have patience, you can take advantage of this type of range, bottom to top, top to bottom. Bottom to top would be for the long position, top to bottom would be for the short. So what we would do here is first we want to figure out how much leverage would be appropriate for this type of range. Well, it's pretty easy because the same as with TradingView, you have a prediction and measurement tools. These are basically TradingView tools because the chart layout is done by TradingView, and you click that and you go to price range. So if you're going to go short right now, from here, the price range down to the bottom of the channel is about 3.5% roughly. So what's the chances that it would go, the wrong way and then get you stuck in the trade, either waiting or panicking, because that's a common thing that happens. Although we'll talk more about that later, about how to not panic, keep calm, figure everything out in advance, set up your trade, choose your leverage that's based on the numbers, not on how much you want to gain or anything like that. You base it on the price action, where it's very likely to go, where the highest likelihood that the price will go to a certain area. So that's how you base your leverage. So we can see that from the current price down to the bottom of this sideways channel, it's roughly 3.5%. We'll just say 3.4 for argument's sake. So we're going to go down 3.4 from the current area, and that's basically going to put us right at the bottom. So what would we do for leverage? Well, on the calculator, I would be using as much as 20x, but we also want to make the trade so that as a fairly new futures trader, you want to minimize your possible damage if the trade decides to go the wrong way. Because if you start seeing negative numbers in the profit and loss, the P&L percentage, it can get kind of nerve-wracking. But the idea is, once again, to choose appropriate leverage. I would use 10x in this case, because I would say the chances are pretty good that it's going to go down to the bottom pretty much directly. Because if you look at the former pattern, I would equate this area as being similar to here, and I would equate this area as being similar to here. So it's probably going to come down a little bit, go up a little bit, and then come down, and you're going to try to catch one of these spikes, or if you're patient and you're not concerned about making the most of your time, you can wait for the bottom of the channel. I strongly feel that Bitcoin is going to go to the bottom of this channel, probably sooner than it did here, because at this point in here and in here, it hadn't truly established this range yet. So after we got here again for the second time, support was established, the top was established a second time, now we've got a range. This range could continue for another, few weeks, but it could also just go down to the bottom of the channel and break the channel floor and go down by $1,000 or so. That's just, it's Bitcoin. So let's talk about what we would gain here. So at this price here, at 10x, just normal 1x would be 3.4%. But if you use 10x, just a short from here to here is going to gain you about 34%. And that's actually really good. I consider this a low risk trade. And what I would do is, it's on isolated, which I want. It's on 10x, which is good for this trade. And I would open a short. Make sure you check this box before you execute the trade. And make sure this is on market. If you want to get in right now, you put it on market. If you want to get in at a different price, you can use limit or stop limit. Now with a limit order, you can say, okay, if the price breaks down in here, I want to get in. But in most cases, a good trade with a setup like this, I would click market and just say, just get me in as soon as possible at the best possible price, whatever's available. Because for every buy order, there has to be matching sell orders of that same or greater size, and vice versa. So when you're getting ready to set up your first futures trade, make sure that you have evaluated your risk versus reward, and that means if you're going to possibly gain 3.4%, where do you want your stop loss to be? Or do you even want to set a stop loss at all? You obviously don't want to lose all your money if you're going to invest $1,000 in a trade with the hopes of making $340 profit. Then you're going to want to figure out how much you can afford to lose. That's the most important thing between a non-trader and an experienced trader. Is experienced traders they'll consider, how much can I afford to lose? Well, how much could I lose in comparison to how much can I afford to lose? So with all that said, I would set the stop loss probably up here if I'm going to set one at all. Now, as a new trader, I would set a stop loss. Why? Because if you're doing other stuff and you're not really watching the trade and it just goes up from here and keeps going, which I would say at this point is not very likely, but it could. It's Bitcoin. So you could say, okay, I'm willing to set a stop loss up here if the price actually breaks this high right here. Maybe here somewhere. So that's a reasonable place where you're not going to lose very much. You would basically only lose 10% on the trade if you got stopped out at 1% above your short entry with a 10x. So that's probably a reasonable thing to do. So what you would do is say 27,412. So stop loss 27,412. I usually put 0.1 just so I am not using fully round numbers. I would take profit at 26,174.1. So there is your take profit on your short and your stop loss at a higher price on your short. So the next thing you do is I don't have any money in this particular portion of futures, but if I did, as I move the slider over to tell it what size I want of the money that's in futures, how big do I want this trade to be? Do I want to trade with 50% of my money, 25, or what? The reason for not going all in, as they say, is because if you get all in a trade, you automatically increase your risk. Why is that? Because you are risking all of the money you're trading with in one single trade. The other reason is if you only go in, say, a third or half, you can find either 1 to 2 other trades in perpetual futures that are really, really good, that are going to actually do better than this trade. And of course you'll see those after the fact, unless you've mapped out the market carefully, which I also highly recommend. So anyway, let's say we're going to go in on a third. We're going to do just under a third, so 32%. That leaves a little bit extra for commission fees and miscellaneous fees that Binance will charge you for being in a futures trade. Now, I believe they charge every 8 hours commission rates, and well, it's not a huge amount. It's enough to where if you're going to stay in a trade for a week, you better make sure that you win, because you're going to be putting a little bit of money out here and there to hold your position. So the next step, of course, once you verify everything, you've got your take profit in place, you've got your stop loss in place, you've got the size of your trade indicated as far as what percentage you're going to trade of your available USDT that's in perpetual futures. You're isolated 10x, and you're going to hit open short. And that's going to open it at market price, and you're just going to get in, and you're in the trade. Stop loss is already set up here somewhere. Actually about right here would be your stop loss. And then you just wait. So what I usually do is I don't try to babysit the trade. I don't really look at it very much, because I already know that I'm either going to win the trade, which is more likely, or I'm going to get stopped out. If I get stopped out, meaning stop loss gets hit, and I lose $100, no biggie. I'll make it up on the next trade. So let's cover one other thing too in this part 2, just so that you can hopefully learn enough in this video to actually make your first trade and get it out there. So we're going to go and hover over this area here where the arrow is, and all these other pairs come up, and then it says, well, BUSD is highlighted in yellow because when I was looking at this yesterday, I actually chose BUSD. So we're going to want to do all. That's going to show USDT pairs and BUSD pairs. So there we go. The top coins are on the top, and then you got last price, how much has it gained or lost in the last 24 hours, and what is the total volume. So you can click on this to find the top gainers. Okay, metal has gained the most. There's metal, sitting just above resistance, and we're making on the 4-hour slightly lower highs. So that is going to maybe go up a little bit and then turn into a good short position. So that's one to check later on in a few hours. The next one is USDT pairs, would be TRX USDT. So we are looking at, let me go and click on that one, TRX USDT. So this one has done some interesting things. Basically, since May 11th, it's gone up, hit resistance, came back down a little bit, and then gone up considerably more in a short period of time. So This would have been a great place to short. I don't like getting into shorts when they're this far along. So just like they say, don't chase green candles, you also don't chase red candles. So I'm pretty much either going to get into a short from here to here somewhere, or I'm not going to get in at all. And before I validate whether or not that's a good entry, I go to my TradingView account, I look at all the indicators and see what's what, and just kind of get a feel for how it looks. While on TradingView, you're going to want to change time frames. Look at the 4-hour, look at the hour, look at the 15-minute. That's going to help you get the best entry. It'll also help you decide if you have a good trade and a good entry for that trade. So that pretty much wraps it up for part 2. But the main takeaway is to don't go all in, because you're always going to find a trade that is more profitable, perfect setup, and you can also look at the top losing trades by clicking this and getting, the ones that lost the most. So let's take a look at Lina. I know Lina did really well over the last few days, up until a day or two ago. So yeah, up until, let's see. Actually, the top was on very early on June 2nd. This came down quite a lot. It went to 2,700. It's already down this much, which is, if I use my price range, I can go from here to here and say, well, it's already lost 37%, which is a lot for an altcoin that has gone up this much. So just since May 26th, it has gone up 62%. So very, very volatile trade where the numbers on the right, these mean a lot. So when you see numbers where it kind of starts out in the 1,000 range, goes to 1,500, 2,000, these are huge price spreads. So the coin just moving just a little bit on this chart is going to make you or lose you a lot of money. So yeah, this could have been a perfect short back on yesterday. So that would have been awesome. People that got in here must have felt pretty good about it. In fact, on these spikes, which are pretty crazy, you could have literally got in here and shorted down to here and then got out, because the price obviously went back up. So anyway, lots of money to be made in futures. Always evaluate all your trades, consider them carefully. If something doesn't feel right, go look at another trade and evaluate it. So hope this information helps you. I will be making a part 3 within the next couple of days, so stay tuned. And good luck. Take care. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you want to trade with the pros, join Blockchain Education. We'll be happy to help you. We'll even train you one-on-one if you want, and make a pro trader of you. Take care. Bye.